Yeah, sis and tell. A whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. Amanda does stand up, Alison's on TV. And when they hop on the phone, it's the place you wanna be. Sis and tell. Sis and tell.
Hey, Allie.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Have you done any DIY projects during the pandemic?
Yeah, for 10 months, basically, my life has been one giant DIY project because nobody's come to our house. So everything I've done has been by myself.
Oh, I mean, like any household repairs or doing it like painting a room, or everyone's like doing these home improvement things because they're stuck at home and they're staring at things, right?
Yes. Like my friend Missy had something on Facebook just yesterday. And I mean, I feel like I could do it, but she did such a great job. She did it in her laundry room, which I thought was, she's very handy. I mean, this is like the tip of the iceberg in terms of her handiness. But she stenciled, I think they're little bees, and they have lines coming out of them. But so she had a stencil and painted over it and created a whole sort of art piece over her wall. It was just a plain wall in her laundry room. And it was so adorable. And I was like, but I'm not that creative.
It's not about, for me, it's not about being creative. It's about where do my capabilities end?
Right.
Right. And stenciling is something that you need a certain eye for detail that I just don't have. Like I could come up, I'm good at like ideation, but the execution is a whole other thing, right? Unless it's like an IKEA chair or bed that I can put together. But so people also in our neighborhood have been doing projects, home improvement projects, where they're bringing other people in. Like our neighbors put in a fire pit with a gravel patio around it. So I was like, maybe we should do that, because our front yard, we're on a corner lot, and our front yard is like a backyard. We hang out in the front yard all the time, and it's like a mud pit. We can't grow grass because of all the trees. So this is a DIY thing I did like 7 years ago. I took a patch of moss from the park and I put it in my yard, and it took over the entire yard.
I know. You told me, I think we even talked about it on the podcast, how you were sort of sneaking it.
Yeah, Uncle
free
Billy
moss,
told me.
free moss.
Right. Yeah. Uncle Billy told me to do that, and I did, and it took over. It's great because it looks like AstroTurf, but it's so soft. But so I'm like, we should get whoever did theirs to do ours. And then I'm always looking at their yard because it's next to us. And I'm like, I could do that, right? So meanwhile, I have hauled, let's say, 3,000 pounds of
what?
Of marble rocks, like chips.
Are you taking
like
these from the woods next door too?
No, I took it from my neighbors. No, I'm just joking. No. Between Lowe's and Home Depot, I've been going there and getting 10 bags at a time because I didn't know how much I needed.
Oh my gosh.
And then I realized that they both do curbside, and I was like going by myself and lifting up they're 50-pound bags of rocks. And I was
That's a good workout. Forget, Fitwit.
I'm using my knees. Inevitably, literally every single time I would load this into the back of my minivan, I'd get to the last bag and some dude would be like, hey, you need some help? And I'm like, what do you think? Look, man, I've got 9 bags already in my car. You think I need your help with this one bag?
Right. Nice try. Nice try, bud.
So
wait, can we back up a second? So what is the intent? I wasn't quite clear on what you're trying to emulate. Is it it's a gravel pit with a fire pit? What is it?
Right. So I'm looking right now literally at their patio that they created. They did a built-in fire pit with like a gravel or like slate chips, like slate rocks.
Okay.
A patio with big rocks lining it, right?
Okay. So the slate chips, they're loose though. Right. They didn't. Okay. Right.
It's not like the stepping stones. It's like they're probably like 2-3 inch rocks. So I wanted to do something similar in our front yard because we've been using our fire pit so much to hang out with people, social distance and outside. So it's like kind of gotten really muddy because moss cannot, if you're walking on it a lot, it just disintegrates. But so I figure out that they both do curbside, right? And I'm like, oh, I can just get the remainder of the rocks I need instead of taking all these trips, because they can load it into the car for me and it's so much easier. So I ordered 30 50-pound bags.
No, you did not.
And
Why do you think you need so much?
Because they're just half a cubic foot each bag. And I did a 12-foot diameter space plus a walkway to it from our sidewalk.
Oh my gosh.
You need more rocks.
You know that's going to kill the moss.
Well, it's fine. The moss is dead. Anyways. So no, I'm trying to save the rest of the moss because we kept on walking on it.
Right.
So
okay.
I have a pathway. So yesterday I did this, 1,500 pounds of rocks in my minivan.
Come on.
Okay. And
how did your van even go? I mean, I'm picturing the tires like deflating on the way home.
Well, Aaron's like, you're going to pop a tire.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure my minivan can handle this, right? I'm very confident in my minivan. So it wasn't driving weird. I got home, I unloaded, I would say 20 bags by myself. Murray did about 10, but because he was in the middle of school, so he did it on his lunch break. And then last night I went to go.
Let me just also add, I'm just sort of like anticipating some stuff. Right. Once you put rocks down, there's no getting them up, right? Like this is the easiest part of your DIY project.
Right. Hardscaping you have to commit to.
Yeah.
And I know because I didn't put down the weed fabric protector on the ground because I didn't think I needed it. My friend recommended it. And I just put it on the path. So I was like, I can just move the rocks and then put it down. But then I tried to shovel them and I was like, this is not happening. Yeah. So I was like, screw that. But so I went to, I do a COVID safe hip hop class, and then I had to go pick up Murray from rugby practice, which we have to talk about. And that's when I heard thump, 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 thump. And I'm like,
no.
Oh no, that sounds like a flat tire. But I'm like in a not so great part of Atlanta where you don't want to, like a woman does not want to like pull over and go check to see if she has a flat tire. Although at same area where I did pull over to throw up when I was pregnant with my twins.
Priorities. Yeah.
I was like, no one's going to bother you when you're throwing up,
yeah.
Right? No one wants to like, steal anything from me or take my car if I'm like throwing up. No one wants to come near that. But anyway, so I'm just 5 minutes from the house. I drove back home and I measured the tire because it didn't look flat.
Yeah.
And it was about an inch difference in the diameter. And I'm so smart that I did this though, but it's not, but you can't even tell. So I didn't even get a low pressure light on and the tire is not deflated this morning, but I'm still going to take it.
Yeah.
To
you
the
should
car
still
shop.
go get some air and check it out. So what was the thump, 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 thump?
I don't know. That's why I'm bringing it into the shop. Cause why is it making that? It was making that noise like it was totally flat. And if you look at it, you can't tell. But we're going to find out. I'm just like, this is going to be so expensive
if
I
mess
mess
with
up.
tires. All right, can we get back to your DIY project? So now you have 3,000 pounds of loose rocks in your front backyard.
Yeah.
And you've made a circumference. Like, it's a circle? It's a square? Is it non-shape?
I did a circle. I researched like the basic sizes of patios that go, like what size they should be for a fire pit.
Okay.
And I did not do a DIY fire pit. I want to be clear. That was too high maintenance for me.
Good.
Because that's when you have to.
But you can buy those pre-made.
You can, but I'm like, why when we can get one for $75 end of season?
Right,
and we already have one, Like we don't need.
So that's in the middle.
Right. So that's in the middle. And then I've got a menagerie of random outdoor chairs around it.
Do the chairs actually sit on the rocks? I'm like,
yes.
They don't teeter?
No.
Really?
It doesn't. It's fine. But I'm going to get Adirondack chairs to replace that stuff when I can find them for affordable. Or maybe I'll make them myself.
Did your neighbors notice that you were totally copying their landscaping idea?
So, good question.
I mean, I know that, that is the highest form of flattery for some people, right? Imitation. But for other people, especially if you're living literally next door and they copy exactly what you did, but a
Right.
DIY version of it,
Right.
I'm not
Totally. And
I'm not sure.
I have to emphasize DIY version, the Amanda version of it, because I am not a professional. I know I seem like a landscape professional, but I'm not. But yeah, no, Erica, my neighbor, was like, "Hey, I said I ended up calling your landscape guy." She goes, "Yes, and you're building it yourself." I go, "Yeah." I just kept on looking at yours and being like, "I could do this myself." And then the guy came over who actually owns the company.
Oh no.
No, I invited him
Oh,
over.
okay. Okay. I thought you meant like he busted you, like I gave you all these
Right.
tips and now
This
you
is trademarked.
right.
This plan for this specific pit is copywritten, or I don't even know. But so no, he did come over, and he was like a really interesting guy, and we talked for a while. And there's so many things to do that landscaping is expensive.
It is because
But I
there's a
can't.
lot to it. Yeah.
I'm not good at digging holes
Why are we having to dig holes?
because I have to plant things. I've got erosion. I've
Oh,
got
Lordy.
dead grass that won't grow, and
Let me just
it's
tell
just
you about landscaping and also pavement, okay, and your driveway specifically. If you put off something that needs to be done, it's number one, obviously, only going to get worse and more expensive because we're having these cracks in our driveway, which have been an issue for a while. And then we've been in our house for more than 20 years, but the guy said, okay, they're, bad now, but if you had waited even, 6 months, a year, he said they would have been beyond the state of repair and they would, they just, you don't even want to know the cost once this hits this, right? It just exacerbates. So you need to really get that checked out.
that's like roofs too.
Yeah,
If
roofing
if
too.
roofing it does, and I would not try and fix my roof. That would be
No, I hope that is not a DIY project
that
for
is
sure.
not it.
All
That
right,
is
so
not
how did it
smart.
turn out? Is it done?
Well, so almost. I think I need about 6 more bags of
Oh my
rocks.
gosh. How much is a bag of rocks?
It was $3.26. But
Oh,
Home Depot, if I bought 12, I would get them for $3. Actually, 2.98. So
that's pretty good.
I thought it was good, and I did price out. There's a landscape, like a wholesale landscape place that sells directly in bulk to landscapers, but you can go there too. And they deliver like pallets of rocks. But just the delivery fee made it not, as
Negligible, right?
affordable as going to Lowe's. And then I have to have a pallet of rocks in my driveway, which is
And then
Aaron.
you have
I
to
did
move
that one.
them and yeah, no.
Yeah. So
Look, the
anyway,
cost of a new tire on a minivan is probably equal to what it would have cost you to
I don't
get
think
a
I need to.
professional.
I
Yeah.
think I need air, and air is free.
All right. Well, I'm going to need a photo of that. I'm a visual learner, so I'm sort of picturing what it looks like, but I'm sure it looks much better than what I'm visualizing.
It does. It looks good, but I need to now. I'm doing edging with like big rocks, like
Yeah.
8-inch to 12-inch
Do you
rocks.
have to buy those too, or are you going searching for those?
I am searching for those. So here's the thing, and this is an ethical question, and um, question of ethics, I should say.
Yeah.
What I live near some land that is a park and has a creek and has rocks. People have been recommending that I go down to because I've been messaging my neighbors being like, "Do you have rocks like these in your yard you don't want?" Because a lot of people don't want those rocks, and
Right, right.
I found like 6 of them in my yard that I moved to be around the fire pit, and and people are like, "You should go down to the creek and just get them." What ethically speaking, do you think it's okay? And it's actually owned by DeKalb County. Is it okay for me to go onto that property and take rocks that are just sitting on the side, they're not like damming up anything, and put them in my yard?
This is a tough question because it's not just about the question on an ethics standpoint. It's not just about whether you have the right to take it. It's whether if you do it and everybody does it, would then there be,
There's
a
no rocks rocks.
Yeah, there'd be no rocks left. And I think
Right.
rocks are part of the ecosystem, right? They're also
Yeah.
part of maintaining, right? If there's like a heavy rain and things like that, they maintain stuff. I don't know the extent of it. I'm not an expert. But I do know rocks are an important part of that landscape, especially a wild nature park. So while I think if you took a rock, maybe, but even that's the same sort of philosophical question. Well, great. If you had 500 neighbors and everybody took a rock, there would be no more rocks.
So I'm on the same page as you. I'm not comfortable taking rocks from the park.
Yeah.
Here's another question similar to this. There's it's also like there are a ton of trees and dead limbs fall all the time. And Aaron has started dragging these limbs back to the house and using them as
For
firewood.
firewood. Oh gosh.
Yes. By the way, one time, and this was pre-pandemic, Mommy was with us and we're walking down this trail and she goes, mind you, we're in the middle of a forest. And she goes, oh, it is a mess. And she started picking up sticks
Cleaning
and
the
stuff.
forest.
She started
Yeah.
cleaning the forest.
Yeah.
Like we were on her back patio and she
Yeah.
needed us to pick up pine cones and sticks
Well,
that
I
had
feel
blown
like
on.
dead wood is a different issue because, I mean, in some part it will degrade and it turns into mulch, natural mulch, and also that's a fertilizer. But if you're camping all the time, not that I'm camping all the time, but campers will, like that's like right. No, but that's a common thing that you're going into wherever you are and you're grabbing the discarded wood or the dead wood, nothing new, right? Or the discarded leaves. So I don't think that's that bad. But I do think there's also those guys on the side of the road. Are they still there? Who are selling firewood out of their trucks? And that's good
Right.
firewood. It's good.
We have that firewood too. We bought like a cord of it. I don't even know how they came up with that measurement. But yeah, we have that firewood, but this is like good kindling.
Yeah. Well, speaking of firewood, I do have it's not a DIY project, but a project that I've been thinking about for a long time because we have a working fireplace in our living room. And we actually, I know you probably didn't even notice it because it's
Where the card table is?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where the card table is, and it's there's a mantle that
And
we painted, and it's
yeah.
not fancy, and
All the pictures of Alan from when he was
some of those
freckled and
little Alan
adorable.
pictures, yeah. And it's already hooked up to gas line. It's sort of like the one we had at our house growing up. There was even a fireplace in the basement, but we walled around it. That was way back when. I was telling my friend it made a great stage for the boys when they were little, right? They would play on the base of it. But we walled that one in, so that's neither here nor there. But for years I have been saying I really wish we could just make this it is a working fireplace, but I want to use it. So Alan, of course, has no desire to have wood in the house because you have to shovel it and you have to, take it out. But part of the beauty of a fireplace, right, which I would do. I'm not opposed to that. I'm like part pyromaniac a little bit, but I love just that smell and the crackle and all of that. And I think even every winter, even if not summer, but I would use it a ton, right? So I really want to turn where the card table is into a like reading nook and a fireplace. And I think, but that's way bigger than a DIY project. But I think
No, it's not. How is it? You just need furniture for that.
well, no, but not the furniture. I'm talking about making sure, like, we haven't used the flume or any, like, the chimney in 23 years or 22
There could be
years.
a bird's nest up there.
Yeah, I think
There
at one
could be
point there was something living up
or
there.
a person. Some people
There's-
get
People don't get stuck in
Yes,
chimneys.
they do. Yes, they do.
What?
Yes, there's so many. If you Googled person stuck in chimney, it happens. Chimney. I
Okay.
added
Do you
an
think if
extra
there was a
syllable.
dead person in my chimney, I would have smelled it by now?
Yes, you would have. I'm just saying.
Or even a
people-
dead animal. God
People
forbid.
get stuck in chimneys. People think they're being clever and get stuck in them.
Well,
trying to.
I don't know how being clever and getting stuck in a chimney are synonymous, but I'm pretty sure
thing.
there is nothing stuck in my chimney, but I also want to make sure there's nothing like blocking the airflow and all of that. But I feel like the compromise is going to be getting those fake logs with the gas, right? Where you just flip it on, which is fine. I'm not against that, but it's not exactly what I want. What
And I
would you do?
I would not cook marshmallows over it.
No, over a gas?
Here's
they're
the thing.
gross. Yeah.
I would find out what his issues are. with real wood.
Messiness. I know exactly that's his issue.
So then you come up with a solution. And if he doesn't want to clean it, that means it's always your job.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm fine with
Keep
that.
it clean. So then there's a solution, right? If he doesn't want it messy and he doesn't want to deal with it, if you're dealing with it, then that solves the issues.
Yeah.
If you're going to keep it clean,
So
then why does it matter?
Okay, so here's the issue. I'm playing devil's advocate on Alan's side. So in our marriage, we, automatically have these roles that we've naturally fit into, which is like, I'm the one who I'm good at organizing. I'm good at planning travel. I'm the cook, right? And he's the cleaner and he does other things, right? Like I'm also like, if there's a toilet broken, I'm the one who fixes it. Like we have certain skill sets, but I'm not expecting him to cook dinner because frankly, I'm just not sure what's going to come out of it unless he's cooking like eggs. Not that he couldn't cook a decent meal. He also isn't expecting me to clean because traditionally when I'm cleaning dishes, he's like, really? This is your idea of clean? There's still stuff on there. I'm like, oh, fine. Then you clean it. This is sort of how I get out of it. So I know he's thinking, right, you're going to clean the fireplace and then he's going to have to come in after me. I'm like a 10-year-old and really clean it and not be happy with my cleaning job. So I think he's thinking either, and again, we haven't talked about this in years, but I know he's thinking he's going to have to do it. It is valid, right? But
I think that's valid. And I think also Alan is very particular about cleaning timelines also.
Yeah.
So like when we go on vacation or when we used to go on vacation with you guys, there is such pressure like to empty the dishwasher immediately get your clothes out of the dryer. If one time I left some dryer lint on the counter and he brought me over to look at it,
yeah.
He does it.
He's a big believer in like the show and tell of what you've done wrong. Yeah, especially when it comes to cleaning.
He's like, but he does it this way. He goes, did you know that there is a trash can in the laundry room? And I was like, okay.
Well, the other thing is, look, anybody listening who has a spouse who doesn't clean, right? You would, like, I am so lucky. Number one, he does all the dishes. Number two, he has a laundry problem. Like, he has to do laundry at least once or twice a day, and he folds. The problem is he doesn't like putting anything away. He will fold, he will wash, dry, and fold laundry to his heart's content, and then he wants somebody else to put it away. He will do all the dishes, clean them, whatever, put them out, and then he wants somebody else to put them away, right? There's a limit to this, but I'm not complaining because he does the two jobs I have no desire to do ever again in my life, which are dishes and laundry. Not that I don't have to end up doing it every so often, but he'll like bring a huge basket of clothes into the den. He's like, hey, you want to help fold? I'm like, I really don't, but thank you for asking. That was really tempting.
I like folding towels. I don't know why, but
yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
So here's what you can also do.
Okay.
He gets to come up with the guidelines and determine and define what clean is, right? And he has to come up with these are the 5 things that you do. This is the criteria for keeping that space clean. And I'm sure it includes a timeline. Like he's not going to be like, oh yeah, fine, do it tomorrow. He wants it done immediately or as soon as it's cooled down or whatever. So if he establishes the guidelines to what clean looks like and you follow those, then but then you have to follow that guideline. You have to be okay with that.
I know. Well, and also there's got to be some advanced technology where it's not just me shoveling soot into a paper bag, like mom and dad did with our fireplace. But this reminded me of a horrible story. I'm so sorry to share this. I apologize in advance.
Set a house on fire, didn't it?
Yeah.
Someone sucking it up in like a vacuum.
Yes. So I'm not making this up because we have a central vac system.
Oh.
And so I was thinking in my head, well, I could just get like a dustbuster and do that. I go, or I can just use a central vac. Then I'm like, I am not using the central vac because that's exactly what happened. Somebody did that and there were still some embers in there and it went down. And then as soon as those embers hit, all of the stuff that the central vac had, sucked up for the past week, everything caught on fire, like ignited in a second. So
I'm sorry, that's just so dumb. That is like, why would you do that? I don't know why you would use a central vac to suck up embers.
I know. Well, if you think if it's been a day or something and you feel like it's all gone out, I mean, I could see where somebody's like, oh, this makes sense and not even putting it. Yeah.
I still would not want to take that
chance.
I'm also worried about carbon monoxide poisoning with the the flu being open. The flume, the flu. What is it?
The flume.
The flume.
Why? Why are you worried? Oh, about it being closed by mistake?
Yeah, if it's, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
look,
pretty
you know in
obvious.
about 2 seconds if it's
Yeah.
closed because
the
there's a
smoke.
lot of smoke in the house. Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Well, speaking of what husbands and wives, or wives and wives and husbands and
spouses.
husbands, yes, spouses. But whatever you break up between responsibilities between you and your spouse, and Aaron does a lot of stuff, but I'm like the more domestic person. But he will sometimes get a chore in his head that he needs to do. That's not really a chore, but he. So he has an axe that he bought.
This
and
is not
we-
going anywhere good.
No, and we go on this walk down this trail, and remember I said there's lots of fallen limbs. There's also fallen entire tree trunks, like giant pine trees.
Wow.
Right? And so we pass one, and there are markings in it, like someone's been trying to chop this trunk. And he goes, "Oh, I need to come back and finish this." And I go, "What?" And I go, "Did you bring the axe out here?"
Why? Why does he want to
you-
chop it?
Right? And it's not even something we can use as firewood because it's so damn big. I mean, it's like there's no way, even if he cut a medallion from this trunk, it would still be too heavy for us to get back to the house.
Wow.
And he's like, "I need to come back here and finish cutting through this." And I'm like, "But there's so many things that we need to get done that actually are helpful. Why is this on your to-do list? Why are you?"
Maybe he's using it as a stress reliever and he doesn't want to tell you. Maybe he just
Well,
goes
no.
out there and he's axing away, which is actually like a great literal tool and figurative tool to get rid of his stress.
It totally times out with the time I brought 1,500 pounds of rocks back home. So, yeah. Oh, man. No, he did say it's a stress relief, which I understand. It's fun to
It's
to
like
chop.
that's why we have a big boxing bag, a punching bag in the basement. So anytime one of the boys got frustrated, we're like, "Go punch, go knock a few of those. Don't hit your brother. Go hit the bag."
Go hit the bag.
Well, coming full circle. So have you used your fire pit? Has it been a success? Has it been a good social distance arena with your wonky chairs and your unlined gravel pits?
Well, I mean, yeah, we've been using it without all that stuff. It's with the stuff we haven't had a chance, because literally all this happened yesterday. And after we get off this Skype call, I'm taking my car to Summit to make sure.
And it still works. And then will you be purchasing the large rocks, I guess? I guess they sell those. I've never looked at a Home Depot or Lowe's, since you're not going to confiscate them from the local forestry.
I just, it's $600 for me to get a pallet of these big rocks. I've
What?
priced it out. Yeah. It's
Oh.
big rocks, and the nice ones, I've got expensive taste. I want the Mexican river rocks. Those are
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just be collecting rocks as I go. I'm hoping that someone is doing construction on a house and they come across 20 rocks, but I'm going to have to haul them in batches, or I'm really going to mess up
I'm seeing you
minivan.
driving around the Atlanta metro area
with
looking,
my bumper
Yes.
sparking in
looking
the back.
for exactly with the major construction sites, and you're like, I'm just going to take this one rock. You'll never miss it, right? It would be fun if every rock had a story, right? If you, by the end of this, I mean, how many do you need for the perimeter? Like,
That's a great idea. People could sponsor rocks.
that wasn't exactly what I had in mind, but that's not a bad idea.
Like when they build a building and you can sponsor a brick and your name's
Yeah.
on it.
You should do
That's
a GoFundMe for the rock project.
But you don't need to give me money. Just give me rocks and you can put your name underneath
That's
it. We will
hilarious.
always remember you.
Okay, so and under separate cover, we will people can PM you for your address, and the rocks is it a certain size? Nothing smaller than
say 6 to 12 inches
okay,
of a rock. Not cement, but like a real rock that
a
was
real
made
rock.
by nature.
Okay, and if you want to
Right.
paint something underneath, or even paint the rock itself, that would be very pretty.
Donate a rock to my cause. Email me, sisters@sisantel.com, or you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/sisantel. And if you got rocks to donate, I'll take them. But make them big. Make them big, make them pretty.
Thank you for listening to Sis and Tell podcast. As always, this has been Amanda and Allison with a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. We'll catch you next time.